What's happening, guys? It's Mike's Little Dragon Channel, and I just finished reading the new issue, Batman. This is part 2 of Hush 2, and I figured I would give a couple minutes to talk about it. I know there was a whole lot of hype regarding Hush 2, Jim Lee, Jeff Loeb getting back together. And I know the first issue was met with a lot of mixed reviews, mixed feelings about what was going on. So I had slightly higher expectations for this issue here, but I'm not really sure if they were met or not after I read it. So we'll go ahead and I'll start this thing up. Couple things that I did like about this issue is I feel like the Jim Lee art is a step up from last issue. I enjoy these type of flashback panels here, the ones that are just in black and white. They almost look like I don't know if you've ever seen Better Call Saul, but they use a flashback style in there where all the characters are in black and white. They filmed the flashbacks in black and white, and that's kind of like what they're doing right here. We see some more of that here, and I really like these styles of scenes that Jim Lee does. And some of them, when he works like this, or when he has this type of inking, or however you want to call it, I feel like it looks really good, super cool. I enjoyed this scene here. I think this is some strong work by Jim Lee. The Joker on the stretcher, and then the x-ray shots that Jim drew. I enjoyed it. Here is another instance of the flashbacks, but this time because they're the Joker and how incredibly violent he is. They're shot, or not shot or filmed, but they have a red tinge to them, and I think that works really well for the Joker, considering how insane and how violent he is. But as for the storytelling, this issue picks up with Joker having been critically wounded. Batman chooses to save him. So he basically scoops him up, throws him in the Batmobile, and they go to Dr. Leslie Tompkins' office, where he wants her to perform the surgery that will save Joker's life. Batman knows he can't take him to the hospital. He knows he can't take him to Arkham, so he's kind of reduced to taking him to see Leslie, who's his long-term, if you're a Batman fan, Leslie Tompkins is a longtime confidant of Batman and Bruce Wayne. So then he takes Joker to the Batcave, basically keeps him in like some sort of healing coma. I enjoyed this double page spread here by Jim Lee. It's really, it's just a really cool looking page, a couple pages. I like the Batmobile in the background. I like that it has the logos on the tires. You have this small, this little 3D image that Batman has of Joker's brain. Then we have some instances where Batman is analyzing the Joker. Now this part here, I feel like it's probably going to be a big conversation, talking point, because Batman is acting like he's never had any exposure to the Joker's body, like his anatomy or his physiology or whatever. Like he is surprised that he thought this was like he says here, he goes, "There was a time I thought this was grease paint, like a clown, but it's some kind of chemical." And he notices that Joker doesn't have fingerprints or footprints. So these instances where he's observing the Joker's and making these observations that he doesn't have fingerprints or footprints. It just seems like it seems kind of strange that this is being mentioned in this book. With the amount of time that Batman and Joker have ran into each other. So that is kind of leads me to another instance here, is that I believe in this book, this Hush 2 has to be read entirely on its own. I don't believe you can try and fit this into any sort of canon, which is really strange because it's issue 159. Like, the way it reads like the first Hush just ended, and that 158 was the next issue. So I know a lot of people are going to have a problem with that, but you have to be able to. That's what I think will work best, is if you just take this book and just read it on its own. Don't try and fit it in any sort of canon or continuity or whatever. Red Hood shows up, and Batman blows the part of the mask off, revealing that it's Jason Todd. Now, and I had to go to Wikipedia to look this up. In the previous Hush, that was not Jason Todd. That was Deed Clayface pretending to be a resurrected Jason Todd. Jason Todd was not resurrected until when Judd Winnick come onto the book. But one of the things that I find interesting, or I didn't really quite understand, he goes, his voice is muffled by that mask. I have to know for certain. And he finds that the way he knows for certain is he wants to chip the helmet, causing it to break. So he thinks that it's Jason Todd. He says he has to know for certain. Jason Todd, the second Robin, killed by Joker, resurrected by Talia al Ghul. He was never the same. So if he does not know that this is Jason Todd, and he has to know for certain, then how does he, I don't understand how he can think this right here. Jason, you had to make sure, Bruce. So if he has to make sure that it's Jason, but at the same time he knows that Jason was resurrected, then who the hell would he think that is? So I at that point, I kind of don't understand it. But, and then this is the whole typical stuff of, why are you letting the Joker live? He killed me. This is, the fact that that the Joker killed me and I have been brought back to life is your failure. It's like staring you right in the face. So that's something that, we've kind of seen time and time again from instances where Red Hood and Batman meet, and I'll be honest with you, if I had somebody kill me and I came back to life, I would probably have the same gripe, the same complaints that Jason Todd does. So, but then we get to this section here where Batgirl, Nightwing run into the Riddler, and the Riddler knows who Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon is, and he says even Bruce, so he knows who Batman is. Now, like I said, when I had to look up what had happened in the first Hush, because it had been so long since I read it, on Wikipedia they said that the Riddler did learn who these characters were, what their secret identities are. But that feels really strange to me. I don't know if this has been touched upon since then, that the Riddler knows who everyone is, but it sure doesn't seem like it has been. I can't remember any instances of any Batman comics that I've read recently that have Riddler saying that he knows who they are. Now, that being said, I don't read as much Batman across the line. It's mainly just the main title, but this page here just felt really kind of out of place, I guess the term would be, or it would feel like that it's something that, it's just like he tells us this and you're just like, oh shit, I didn't know he knew that. Okay. And so because you don't know any of that, it feels kind of flat. But I do like this scene with Nightwing and Batgirl in the clock tower. I like this shot of the clock tower from the inside out. You get to see all the gears and everything. So I did enjoy that. And I did enjoy the various Batgirl costumes here. The Burnside one that Batgirl keeps on display. So all in all, I'm going to say that I did enjoy this issue slightly more than the previous one. But all things considered, that's not that much more of a glowing statement. I believe, I hope things pick up, but at this point, after 2 issues, I think what we've got so far is what we're going to get, so to speak. So, and I think this really comes out at a really weird time because Absolute Batman is doing so well and it's selling incredible numbers. And then we have Batman Hush here, which just feels like, just another Batman story, but with creators that we know. This just feels like another mainline Batman story with creators that are, have a very impressive resume. It doesn't feel very groundbreaking, or it doesn't feel very, cutting edge or anything, whatever you want to call it, like Absolute does. It just feels like another story for Batman that's going to get collected in a trade paperback at some point. But, I don't really want to end on a down note like that. So I will say that I enjoyed a lot of the art this time as opposed to last issue. So I feel like in this issue, Jim Lee has kind of got his groove back, So I did really enjoy that. So hopefully if you guys pick it up, you'll enjoy it maybe slightly more than I did. But if you didn't, then don't worry. They're only doing 6 issues, and then they're going on hiatus for a while. So we've only got 4 more to go until the Matt Fraction run starts. So you guys take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.